Greetings, people of YouTube. This is MKN Forever. Tony once again, and I'm just I was just not doing much. It's hot like a rat's ass over here. It's freaking hot. It's 80 something degrees, and tomorrow's gonna be 90. And on Wednesday things are gonna start cooling down around here. And I hate the heat. Right now I'm in my van, and I just finished watching a video that Matt did. It's he's pretty much covering all the TMNT comic books in that video, but he did also a video talking about body count, the TMNT body count comic book thing, and very good video, man. Congrats on doing it, and you did a good job on that one. And Matt pretty much inspired me to talk about since he's talking about a video, since in the video he was talking about a comic book that he likes, I figured I'd do one about a comic book that I like. So anyway, as you probably saw up there, you probably know what this video is by now. And I'm gonna be talking about The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. That's right. In my opinion, the best Batman comic book ever written. And I'm gonna be talking about a little bit of this comic book right here. Now, because I also heard that this comic is getting a cartoon adaptation, an animated adaptation by DC Universe International, or whatever it is. And that's interesting. I don't know who they got for Batman yet, but I hope it's Michael Ironside, because Michael Ironside has voiced Batman before, and when they kind of like they took this comic book and they put it into an episode of the Batman cartoons back in the 90s. So I would like to see Michael Ironside do a voice of Batman again. Him or Miguel Ferrer from RoboCop. Either one would be good. Anyway, so what I'm gonna be doing here is pretty much talking about a live action movie adaptation. So like who would be behind it and the casting. My choice. So anyway, get comfortable and grab your soda and just enjoy the show. Anyway, I'm gonna start out by talking to you guys a little bit about the story. Now, the story takes place way in the future, a few years in the future. Bruce Wayne is now 50-something years old, and has retired from being Batman, and he's been retired from Batman for a pretty long time. It's referred to he in this world, Gotham has pretty much been taken over by this gang called they call themselves the Mutants, and they're pretty much led by this one guy who's referred to as the Mutant Leader, or the Mutants Leader. And so it's just pretty much this big guy, this bald guy, and pretty much the whole first chapter of the comic book talks about Bruce Wayne, coming back as Batman, coming back and pretty much pushed into being Batman again, because he sees how terrible Gotham has gotten, and it's that's the whole first chapter of the movie, of the story. Then the second chapter we see, also in the first chapter, before I forget, we get a glimpse of what Two-Face, of completely rehabilitated Two-Face, who's not Two-Face anymore. He's Harvey Dent now. So he's pretty much cured, and not only psychologically, but physically. He's physically cured. He in plastic surgery, all that stuff. he had plastic surgery, so now he's pretty much fixed. His face is entirely fixed. So he's pretty much rehabilitated, or so we think. But you have to pretty much read the story to see what finds out. Now in the second chapter, we see Batman is now back. People know that Batman is back, you know. And in this one, you know, he pretty much gets the mutant leader's attention, you know. And you know, the mutant leader's over there talking tough, you know, saying some stuff about, you know, Batman, I will kill the fool Batman. I will bathe in his blood, and I will rip the meat from his bones and suck them dry. You know, Gotham City belongs to the mutants. You know, that kind of stuff. You know, pretty much talking crap or whatever. And eventually they have two fights. The first fight doesn't go so well for Batman. The second fight, you know, Batman ends up on the winning side. But you know, so that's the whole second chapter. Also, we're introduced to a new Robin, called Carrie Kelly, I believe her name is. Yeah, Carrie Kelly. Yeah, right here. Anyway, it says her name is Carrie Kelly, and she's pretty much the new Robin. You know, she's a girl. She's, I don't know, about 15, 14 years old. You know, not very old. You know, she's still a girl. You know, so anyway, chapter 3 talks about Batman and some of his old demons. The Joker. You know, one of his old foes right there. And by this time, you know, we see that the Joker has pretty much realized that Batman is back as well. And he pretty much he pretends to be rehabilitated so he can get out of Arkham. Once he's out of Arkham, you know, the press gets an interview, and the interview goes wrong, and, you know, it's just, I can't really explain it, but you have to read the story to really, you have to read the comic book in order to understand it. But, you know, it's pretty much 4 stories in one. And now the last one is, I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens, but it involves, a fight between Batman and Superman. But Batman, and I know some people might say, come on, what? Batman and Superman doesn't make sense. I mean, Superman will pwn Batman easily. Now, true, but Batman has an advantage, and that advantage is that he's wearing a suit that's laced with kryptonite. You know, so, and Green Arrow has a part in this movie as well. And Catwoman, or Selena Kyle, has a part in this movie. So now that you know your basic story, I know I went all sporadic on this, but I mean, it's hard to explain. You know, you just have to read it or or wait until the animated feature comes out. You know, so anyway, now that I gave you talked a little bit about the story, I'm gonna talk about a little bit about how would the movie be if it were ever made into a live-action adaptation. Now, oh yeah, another thing I wanted to talk about. A lot of people are saying that this comic book rips off a lot of things from RoboCop. Which, okay, granted, RoboCop and Batman do have a lot of similarities. I mean, a lot of similarities. But if anything, RoboCop rips off The Dark Knight. Why? Well, I did some investigating, and apparently, this comic book came out I think a year before RoboCop came out. I think a year or two. I'm not sure how many, but anyway, the Dark Knight was first. This comic book came first, then RoboCop. You know, so it's like I'm guessing that the writers have at the back of their heads they were thinking about The Dark Knight Returns, maybe.